Everyone, welcome to my kitchen. You're in the kitchen with KK. It is Sunday. I'm a little more casual. This is my alma mater, University of Vermont. Of course, it's pink. So we're going to be talking about oatmeal today. National Oatmeal Day is October the 29th. So I thought it would be great to bring back an alternative to the 5-ingredient oatmeal blueberry muffins that I made, and talk about some of the pitfalls behind oatmeal and the misconceptions. So I'm a functional and integrative health coach. So we get to the root cause of disease. We know today that over 80% of our food is ultra processed. It is pro-inflammatory. So we really have to do a better job of cooking, finding alternatives, meal prepping, and finding alternatives for those snacks. And when you do eat a proper meal, you do not need snacks. Snacks came about because people were not eating, and they were going without meals, and then blood sugar was going up and down. And so anywho, let's get on with the oatmeal. You know that this is the only brand that I utilize the 1 degree farmers we know, and it is sprouted rolled oats. I get all of my grains. I try to get them sprouted. They're perfected. They're easier to digest. Their protein profile is perfected. Here, just a half a cup of this has 7 grams of protein. You are going to get a carb conversion here. There is a decent amount of fiber, soluble fiber. Now, big thing years ago, they talked about heart health. Well, and lowering cholesterol. Anytime you put more fiber in the body, maintain your blood stability here, that fiber will help to reduce the cholesterol. But we do need to take into account that these can cause sugar spikes. And a lot of people are buying instant oats, which will spike much more quickly. You do not need to buy oat flour. I'm showing you how to do this. Don't buy oat flour that is processed there. And you do want to consider the fact that if you're adding in some fats and some protein into the mix with this, it will keep your blood sugar more stable. But what oats do is they fill you up. So they make you feel satiated, which is really fantastic. So adding sugar, chocolate, any type of sugar to this, even if it's coconut sugar or honey, you don't really need to add berries, to your oats. Now, this one is the steel cut version from Farmers We Know. I do like a little bit of steel cut oats, but you can also do a fully gluten-free millet or a teff as a porridge. Those are great. Even buckwheat make great warming winter porridges that are fantastic. They're also alkaline. Okay, so that's some of the pitfalls. And if you Google Dr. Hyman on oats, he'll recommend that, if you do have blood sugar issues, watch out for them. But what we're trying to do is create alternatives, so you're not going to the store and buying highly inflammatory oatmeal or other type of muffins, which generally range between 30 and even 60 grams of sugar. Do they taste good? Of course, sugar tastes good, but it's going to inflame your body. And then the oils, not to mention the oils, there's no oil in here. So we're not adding any sugar, there's no oil, and there's no eggs. These are not pro-inflammatory. They're going to fill you up and give you an alternative that's a grab and go, and that's what we're after. And because I've already done the blueberry, we're going to do a banana walnut chocolate chip. Will be a kid's favorite, but we're not adding in eggs. We're not adding in milk. We're not adding in flours. We're not adding in other stuff. We're going to make these as easy as possible. And with just very simple ingredients. So I have some bananas that are greener. Those are going to go into the muffins. Greener bananas are filled with inulin fiber. Inulin fiber doesn't break down as fast. It feeds your gut microbiome, gives you more fiber, lasting fullness, does not spike your insulin, because when bananas get ripe, these are a little more ripe because I want the banana flavor in the muffins, because we're not adding in a berry here. And that's the difference. So I bought I let these ripen a lot more, and I just got these so that they would be ready. So what we start with is we're going to break down 1.5 cups of these sprouted rolled oats. And we're going to break them down ourselves in the food processor. So, I mean, in the blender. Takes a matter of seconds, and that way you don't get a powdery. Oh, and you can be guaranteed that they're sprouted and glyphosate and gluten-free. That's why I trust these if I'm going to use oats. Okay, so there's 1 cup, and let's get another half. You get a little bit more, it's all right. So you're going to see how quickly your blender can help you out. We're going to use the same blender to turn the bananas into a whip, and that's part of the replacing a need for eggs and for any of the milk. We are using an almond milk. So let's see how quickly this works here. About 4 seconds. I give it a shake, and I don't mind if some bigger pieces are in there. I like a little bit of texture. So we're done. I'm gonna pour that into a bowl here. Okay, next up, we're gonna be doing 4 bananas. So let me get these peeled, and let me grab the baking powder, and we'll be. I know you guys know how to peel a banana, so we didn't need to put that on. And so let's just get these cut into smaller pieces, or you can break them down. Another thing I make with bananas that's a fantastic treat is I use my carob. I have a huge container over there. And if you check through my reels, I did a lava log, chocolate lava log. And I also talk about the differences between cacao and carob. Carob is naturally sweet. You don't need any sweetener. And all I mix is carob with bananas. And it makes a chocolate whip that I put into a freezer in little bowls, and I have it as a dessert. I put a little chocolate nibs on top. You can get super creative at home. Your pastry chef at a restaurant or bakery is not going to do that for you. You don't need to use vanilla because we're using the vanilla organic malt here. Now let's get these whipped up. Okay. So use your tools in your kitchen to help you out. Perfect. All right, next up, let's get 1/3 of a cup of the Malk in here. The half, okay. And we're going to be adding to that flaxseed, 2 tablespoons of flaxseed. So this also adds a little more fiber to it. It's your omega-3s. When you're not using eggs, flax eggs are 1 tablespoon to 3 tablespoons of water. Not necessarily doing that completely here. Get my favorite little spatula. Okay, so that is a vanilla flavored malt. If you want to add some more vanilla, or if you just want to keep the number of ingredients lower, that is perfectly fine. So I'm going to add this to it. And then I'm just going to give it another little whip just to mix this all in. Just use those blades of your blender to help you out. Right, some more of the other dry ingredients. We need some, oh, that's baking powder. So baking soda, I would use 1 teaspoon. Baking powder, I would use 1/2 of a teaspoon. So let me just, we can interchange them here because baking powder is stronger, right? Let's get this whipped in. Now for the spices for this, I'm going to use more cinnamon than I do in the blueberry ones. I use just 1/2 teaspoon. I'm going to use a full teaspoon in these. We want it to have rich fall, nice spiciness. And I do like nutmeg. I'm going to use a little bit more than 1/4 of a teaspoon. You can use just 1/4 It's probably typical. So I'm just using a filled quarter teaspoon here. Very easy, very easy. So let's just blend together our dry ingredients. I don't need to add, the baking powder has acid in it, so I don't think that I'm going to need to add any lemon juice, but I might just give it a little bit of a squirt. Usually I add a little bit of lemon juice, a half a teaspoon. So let's get this poured in. These little spatulas are perfect to have when you're using your blender or you're using a food processor. 2 items which you must have today to help you out in making things, making your food prep easier. Let's get those to the side. So what I'm going to be adding is 2 of the harder bananas cut up. So I'm just going to give this a nice little mix. And set it aside. Like I said, you guys all know how to cut a banana. I just do it the quick way here. When they're harder, I just use the knife to go through. And yeah, these are nice and hard. I want them to stay firm in the muffin so they're not mushy. And get out a little bit bigger knife here. I'm going to save the ends for my yogurt I'm having over there. So don't make them too thick, but don't make them too thin. This is pretty good here. You want to have enough so they're spread throughout the muffin. Okay, I'm going to keep these 2 end pieces myself. And all right, so for the chocolate chips, we're not adding sugar to these. If they're for your kids, what I recommend is the Hue brand chunks. All it is cacao, coconut butter, and coconut sugar. No lecithins, no cane sugar, and these, no sugar at all. It's just straight up cacao. So it gives you that punch of chocolate, perfect for adults that are getting that palate shut down from being overly high from way too much sugar for years. Let's get this added. So what I'm really trying to make here is kind of a meal replacement if you're on the run, because I really don't condone snacks. I like people to eat a real meal and not in between. We become a snack society and it's wrecking our health. And most of those snacks, most of them, probably 95% of them, are pro-inflammatory. This is inflammation you do not feel, causing our cells to be inflamed, causing the body not to work right, causing our intestines to be inflamed, our liver to be inflamed. You name it, we've got inflammation as the root cause of so many of our issues today and behind the problem we have with metabolic health. We've got to get the metabolic health under control. That is another one of my goals, is to get people more metabolically flexible. It is a beautiful place to be in. You're never hungry, only when you need to be. I'm going to clean up a tiny bit. Then we're going to add the walnuts and the chips, get them into the pan. We're cooking it at 375. Super easy. So I've got raw organic walnuts. Do not buy a huge thing of walnuts. They will go bad. You make sure that you just get what you need. And I keep them in a very sealed glass container, a jar that has a clip down lid with the sealing placed there on it. So these are raw walnuts. If they start to smell, they're oxidizing. That means that they are becoming inflammatory. All right. So I've got at least a half a cup. I like to use just 2 little handfuls here. Maybe it's a third of a cup of the chocolate chips. You don't need many. It's not to overpower the bananas. It is simply to add a little chunk of chocolate, what adults need to feel great. If you feel like the batter is a little bit thin, you can just sprinkle on some more of the flaxseed, and we can go from there. Normally, like I said, I would use the baking powder, but you can interchange baking soda. Baking soda is stronger, it just needs a little acid for the reaction. You know, if you ever use baking soda with vinegar to clean out a drain or something like that, you see how reactive it is. As kids, we used to use it to make volcanoes. Here's I started using the silicone muffin cups because they clean up so much better. They come out so much better. You don't have to buy the cups, that paper cups that go into them. And I use my little pastry brush here. I'm cooking a lot, so I always have it out on the stove. And this is coconut oil, a high heat coconut oil. Make sure you're getting those inflammatory oils out of your kitchen. You only need those three: olive oil, coconut oil, and avocado oil. So I've used some coconut oil here. You can also use avocado oil. Okay, so now another easy tip is just to use a measuring cup. This is a 1/4 cup measuring cup, and it works perfectly inside of the muffin tins. And that way you're not getting it all over. You keep your tin nice and clean. This should make, it might make over a dozen, but it should make at least a dozen. You see how many you get out of just a 1.5 cups of oats that you break down yourself, so you don't need to have oat flour. In fact, like I told you, oat flour is not suggested. And the oven is already heating at 375, so we're just going to get these in. It might make a little bit more. Whoops, so I made a mess. It might make a little bit more because I've added in the walnuts, which I don't typically do to the blueberry ones. So now this is a really hearty grab and go. Let's say you are on the run and you don't have a smoothie to bring with you, because smoothies are the perfect grab and go when you make them properly with nutrients. I call mine healing smoothies because they have a purpose. They all have a purpose. Okay, let's just clean off the edge there. These are looking terrific. Just in case you want to keep your nails good, or anything is wrong with your hand, or you just want to stay clean in the kitchen, these are oatmeal gloves. You can get them at the store. I get them at CVS. That way you're not using latex. All right, so let's get these in. We're setting them to 24 minutes. We'll be back when they're done. So thanks for tuning into this super easy muffin recipe that you can make. Okay, time to get these babies out. So about 25 minutes at 375. Perfect. You're going to smell the banana because we did use some riper bananas. We need to let these cool before we pop them out. Look how fantastic these look. So these will be enjoyed by every member of the family, and you'll feel good that you're not exciting inflammation in the body, either through the oils or too much sugar, and that these can provide sustenance, make you feel nice and satiated and filled up, and give you nutrients. So once those are cool, we'll get them out and move forward. So what's lovely about these silicone is all you do is you press up the bottom and you can plop out beautiful muffin here. They're still a little warm, but I just wanted to show you. We don't let those cool completely. They smell incredible. So enjoy making this. Get your kids involved. It's super easy with just one blender. few ingredients, and you can feel safe that you're having a nutritious treat. Thanks for signing in today and watching here in KK's Fit Kitchen, showing what you can do in a simple, small kitchen.